from it being the biggest surprise of my entire life, it did give us, through working from home, the opportunity to process it, me to cope with some fairly significant morning sickness, all while working from my desk. So in that respect, we have been lucky. I'm looking forward to being back here at Parliament, though, and getting on with the important work that I get to do as the member for Lilley.
It is raising an interesting question at this time when so many people have adapted to working from home, some more successfully than others. Do you think this will be a new look for going out of the coronavirus pandemic, that employers will have to be more understanding about people working from home and working flexible hours?
I think it should be. I think that the Australian culture is quite antiquated when it comes to flexibility and the flexibility that people need for their caring requirements, whether it is young children or their elder parents. Australian workers have the right to ask for flexible work arrangements under our IR system, of course, but overwhelmingly those requests are rejected due to operational requirements. And we also know that a lot of those operational requirements can be worked around. COVID-19 showed us that you really can work around those things and be flexible when you need to. I think what we need the Australian Parliament to lead now with is that we need to be more flexible. We need to help Australian workers out.
Because it is one of those things that does keep a lot of women out of serving in Parliament. I know you're the youngest female MP in the building, and you would have watched a number of female MPs drop out when they do have young children. What kind of things would you like to see to support more women so we can get more women serving in Parliament?
Well, the Morrison government has been talking a lot about IR reform being a key priority for them coming out of COVID-19, and we hear a lot of discussion from them about the arcane nature of our award system and our structures and company tax. But what about how arcane the working system is for workers? I mean, the entire system is based around this archaic notion that you need to be at a desk between 9 and 5 to be a productive worker, and the assumption that someone is home warming a casserole for you to allow you to do that. That's not what Australian workers look like these days. The average Australian is a 38-year-old working woman with 2 kids. So why are we all accepting this system that does nothing or does very little to support the average Australian? By way of what I'd like to see, I think that we could, yeah.
No, sorry, go ahead.
In terms of suggestions of what we could do, government could provide incentives to employers who do provide on-site care or holiday programs. We could look at reducing the 40-hour working week. I mean, Finland's looking at reducing to a 4-day week, 6-hour day working week. And we could introduce just more flexibility about how workers choose their hours. If you are a happy, productive worker, why should you not be able to choose the hours that you work with maybe some collaborative coordination across teams as suits the operational requirements of your team? Now, obviously, not everybody fits into this mould. Not everybody has a white-collar job behind a desk that can canvass these things. But that's the whole point of flexible working. It needs to be flexible for you. It needs to be flexible for your family. It needs to be flexible for your workplace. It needs to work better for everyone.
The flip side of that, I would say, is I've seen a lot of people saying just how frustrated they are having to mind children at home while they're trying to get their work done as well, that it does limit their productivity in the meantime. Do you think it is realistic to expect employers to support people to be working while they're looking after their children?
Well, I think that's what makes COVID obviously not a best practice model, because it's unusual to have to do both at the same time. What COVID-19 has thrown up and made more visible, which has previously been too invisible, is all those hours of unpaid care that are left to Australian households and aren't valued by our economy. I've talked to you before about how our childcare system is in crisis, and for too long Australian culture has just treated childcare as something that is nice for middle-class women to have and not the key economic driver that it is. And then, things like our school system is based around a 9 to 3 day for kids, but the average worker works 9 to 5, and filling in those gaps with after-school hours care is expensive, and filling in the school holiday weeks when you have 4 weeks annual leave and the average kid has 12 weeks school holidays is, incredibly difficult for many families. Now, I hasten to say the answer to that isn't extending the school year. We need to do what's best for kids. The answer to that is more flexible work.